Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you the countdown. That's right, everybody. Countdown episode number 69. That's right, guys. For you that are not familiar with the countdown, this is the show where I count down my favorite comic or my worst comic of the week and go all the way down to my favorite comic book of the week. And this week, guys, today we have 11 comics all together, all physical copies, no digital copies. So with that being said, let's not waste any time and see what Mike Spider Slayer thinks of his worst book of the week. And that is number 11. And number 11 goes to Batman Eternal. How can you go from like one spectrum to the other? For me, at least in Batman Eternal, it's get rid of everything that the story has been about and just throw in Batwing, Batwoman, and the Spectre in there. That's really how you lose my interest with this particular series and bring it all the way down to number 11 because that's what they did here. They went away from obviously what the main story is about and brought back the Spectre, brought back Batwing. You get to see a little bit of Red Robin in here with Harper Row, and you know I just found the book not my cup of tea. That's basically what it comes down to. When it comes to the Spectre and everything that's going on with him and Batwing, I could honestly give a crap because what I like about this story is the whole gang war. You know, Commissioner Gordon, Jason Bard, and you get to see that and maybe like a page in the actual issue, and they really didn't touch it on anything else in here. It really focused again on the Spectre and everything that was going on here, and then real quickly on Batgirl, and then there was Batwoman in here real quick, and I just didn't like it. I just not my cup of tea here, guys. You know, for fans, hardcore fans, you might like this issue. For me, I didn't like it whatsoever. It did nothing for the story. Complete filler. I give it a 2 out of 5. All right, so moving on to top 10, and number 10 is the next weekly book. You know, these are going to be hit or misses, I think, and that's the way it's been going. New 52's Future End issue number 11. Pretty much just the same thing that we've been getting. You know, the broken up stories, you know, throwing in different elements here or there. But I felt that this issue made no progression whatsoever. We get to see Grifter's assistant in here. He's been missing. His partner's looking for him. He's got some alien sitting there trapped in a chair. You know, and the dude starts shooting at him, and you're like, okay, well, what does this have to do with the story? Then you get freaking voodoo in this book. Like, come on. Can we get any more canceled characters in a particular series than in the Future's End New 52? Or New 52 Future's End? I mean, really, voodoo? Come on, seriously. So she appears in the freaking book. Then you wind up getting, you know, Hawkman in there again with Frankenstein. And there just wasn't anything here that drove the story forward at all. They crash into some planet. They're flying to this planet and they crash. Big deal. So what? Who cares? It crashed. Very suspenseful. Then you get to see Mr. Terrific go on the air and talk about his situation with Batwing and the battle that he's having with him and the certain technology that's going on. And then you come across this weird thing that showed up a couple issues ago, and I wasn't sure what that was. It's this red guy in here, and you know, he starts killing people on the boat. And then probably what we've already seen a whole bunch of times is we get to see the whininess of Raymond and Jason talking about how they don't want to be Firestorm, and the Justice League is basically begging him to come back. And so for about 4 pages, that's what you see in this particular issue of Future's End. Nothing made any progression. Firestorm doesn't come back together. He just takes off where he came from. They beamed him up. He beamed himself down. Done. That was your story. Who cares? Firestorm has been gone for forever. You know what I'm saying? Already in this series, they've been apart. Why bring that whole story back up again just to accomplish absolutely nothing? Is he going to be the savior of the story? Is that what it's going to come down to? All rainbows and happy, things, bunny rabbits floating around when Firestorm comes back into play? I don't know. I didn't like the issue either. It's pretty much a tie with Batman Eternal, and I give that one a 2 out of 5 as well. So let's get on to the books that kind of counted this week, and this was the original Sin tie-in, Nova issue number 19. Now, in the last issue, you get to see Sam Alexander have a vision of his father, how his father was, killed somebody, and he wasn't a good person. So Sam Alexander wants to investigate upon that. He wants to take it a little bit further. The book now is written by Gary Duggan, and the penciler is David Baldwin. So we have another penciler on this book. The problem with this book is it goes through artists like underwear. They change constantly. I think we're on the third artist now on this book that's writing it, and we're on our third writer as well. And having a feeling that the story is going to kind of lose itself a little bit here with all the different writers and artists, and I see the art here starting to change a little bit now. It's starting to veer off from where it was, but it's still okay. It still represents similar to what itself, but in this issue it shows Rocket Raccoon. He makes an appearance in this issue, and I think it's just a thing, obviously, for Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie coming out, with these two being together here. Even though Rocket has appeared in the book before, it's just coincidental that he shows up here now, right before the movies to come out, so it gets people excited. I think we could maybe possibly see a Nova movie in the future with Marvel, and maybe, this could be why they're teaming up. I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy, Nova. I don't know, we'll see. But this issue, he wants Rocket Raccoon to sit there and try to help find his father and what was going on. And there was humor here from Rocket, but I felt like it was forced humor. It wasn't. It didn't have that natural to us. It's like they kept on pushing Rocket on how he shot things and how he said certain dialogue. I thought it was kind of pushed. But you get to see Sam Alexander go to where to one of his father's comrades, and and he tries to get information from this guy here. So again, I thought it was all right. For a story that takes place let's put it this way, for Sam Alexander, for a book that's been focused heavily on him finding his father, I didn't feel that this was a good direction, in my opinion, for his father to find his father this way. With this guy and with Rocket Raccoon, I thought it would be a much more dramatic fashion. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say here, where he just finds this random guy that used to work on the Corps and made a bet and all this other stuff. I don't know. I just would have found it something different. I don't know. That had to involve the actual Earth family. But we'll see where it goes. It wasn't horrible in any stretch of the means. I just thought, I don't know. I thought it could have been better in my actual opinion here. So after reading it, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was just average. I wasn't impressed by it. All right, so going forward now, we move on to number 9, and number 9 was Teen Titans issue number 1. A lot of people are upset with Teen Titans. They're not happy with them. They don't like the costumes. They don't like the characters that are in their team. And, this time around we get Teen Titans number 1 released with the same bunch of people. And I think, Kid Flash is missing from here. I didn't read the last series. I read a couple of issues. I did an in-depth review on this book. And my biggest problem with this issue is that I like the artwork. I thought the artwork was pretty good. It was a nice book to look at. I thought, Wonder Girl was drawn pretty nicely. Red Robin was done well. Um, I thought the book did a pretty good job at, showing the characters that are in the team and some of the powers that they do. But when you look at the meat of the story, I thought these random this terrorist group that was kidnapping this bus or taking over this bus, I thought was to go into Star Labs. I thought it was kind of a lame introduction to a number one. I would want to see like a main villain in here or some other characters or something that's going to give the series hope and not cancel it again. I felt this was kind of the best page in the book, in my opinion. So again, when I look at the overall story, I thought it was weak. It just showed our heroes using their powers, saving some people, being bullied around by terrorist group, and it's nothing special here. And even the cliffhanger was like, okay, well, this one terrorist said it's not over yet, and it just says not yet, and it's kind of like, all right, where are we going here? So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'm not sure if I'm picking up the next issue. It's not really doing enough here to capture me. So it was okay. I mean, it was a three out of five, 3.25 out of 5 stars, depending on the type of week. When this next issue comes out, if it's a heavy week, I might not just get it because there's so many other books out there that are probably better than this. And I think what DC needs to do, if you're going to relaunch a title, make a splash, do something exciting. There's just nothing here that was really exciting. So that's what made it the average book. All right, so we're going on to number 8. Let me just make sure that's right. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. Sorry, 7. Mike Spider Slayer does not know how to count. So 11, 10, 9, 8. Yes, 7, guys. So Teen Titans was 8. So number 7 was Harley Quinn, issue number 1, one shot, the San Diego Harley Quinn invades Comic-Con International San Diego. Sorry, I can't talk today. I've been loaded with work and my brain's just on fire. So, yeah, basically this issue I felt could have been as good as that Zero issue that Harley Quinn came out with. And that's what I was expecting here. However, it wasn't as good, and I'll tell you why. I do like the cover in the book. I thought it was really neat. I like when you fold it out and you get this full page here. There's all this mischief and chaos that's going on in San Diego, and that's what happens in this book. And there's quite a few different artists in this book, and there's some good elements in this book as well. Some good and funny moments, but the whole book wasn't funny. And in this issue, you get to see Harley Quinn, basically go to San Diego. And she wrote this actual comic book, which I thought was pretty cool. It's called Hurl Girl, which I thought was comical. I like how the art, how she wrote this book, and it's in her portfolio, and the artwork does great detail and, putting messes on the page as she's been handling it so many times, which I thought was really nice. And she wants someone to go and take a look at her script and see if she can have a possible real comic here. And, elements in here were good. The concept of the story was decent until she gets to Comic-Con. And in Comic-Con, she acts so crazy and mischievous. Excuse me. And she gets overexcited all the time. She winds up getting thrown out. And not day 1, not day 2, all day 3. And she gets thrown out every single day. And I thought, in that aspect, I thought the book was very repetitive. Here's some artwork inside the San Diego Comic-Con, which I thought was neat. There's lots of things to look at in this book when it comes to characters. And, Jim Lee makes an appearance, which I thought was really neat. Dan Didio makes an appearance, which I thought was pretty funny as well. Who else? Great scene here with the Jokers. As Harley Quinn goes into a room filled with Jokers and she handles them all nicely, which I thought was pretty funny too. But in the end, I thought it was repetitive. I thought a lot of humor was forced. I thought you got an oversaturation of Harley in this. It was like an overdose, and I felt Harley is good, but in small doses, and you just got too much of her in this issue. And being that she has her own series now, and now she's in Suicide Squad, I just thought it didn't need to be, you know, so much Harley Quinn. But in the end, it was okay. It was entertaining issue. The best part for me was this whole Jim Lee scene that is shown there, and yeah, so it was cool. And you get to see Arrow in there too, which I thought was pretty funny too. So it was fun. Could have been better. I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. So that was number 7. All right, so what was number 6? Number 6 was Supergirl issue number 33. Red Daughter of Krypton, and this is the final part. I wasn't going to pick this up. I felt that the whole Red Lantern thing was over, and I thought I could move on with life when it comes to Supergirl. And when I found out that this story was concluding here, I was like, all right, well, let me just pick it up and finish the whole Red Daughter thing. So also what made me pick it up was this right here. You see this little banner here. And that is the characters from Gen 13. And that got me, scratching my head going, what is Gen 13 doing in a Supergirl book? So I wanted to see if they were actually in this. Now, they were in the actual main story, but they were in an epilogue at the end of this story. But you get to see Supergirl deal with this world killer. And this book had lots of action, lots of battle, trying to destroy this world killer. The world killer was actually dominant throughout the actual book. I thought the artwork, is good in Supergirl. I like the Supergirl book, the artwork in the book. I think it's nice. I think the character herself, Kara, in the New 52, is just too full of rage and too crazy. Now, too much attitude. And I think now they're trying to revert back to her more calmer ways. And that happens in this issue because when you get to the end of this issue, you see her take the world killer and she throws it in the sun, or she's trying to throw it in the sun. But what happens, in order to succeed, she had to take off her red ring. And the rule of the red ring with the Red Lantern is that you die when you take it off. So she takes it off, it disintegrates, the world killer gets destroyed, and as she's dying falling into the sun. She gets revived, I guess, just before she dies, and then she comes back as Supergirl right here, and she's back in her original costume, not the original costume, but the New 52 costume, and she makes it clear in their dialogue saying that I'm all done with rage. I'm so done with being anger. I've learned to accept that Earth is my home, and they're willing to accept me, and this is where I live. So it looks like she's taking a new path now. And then by the time you get to the end of the book, again, you come across Fairchild, and you get to see her just say one word or a couple words in here, and she goes, clones destroyed. And she goes, well, hopefully the others can finish off the Kryptonians. And what does that mean? I'm not sure, but then you get introduced to all the characters here of Gen 13, and then you get to see Superboy. And then that's where it leaves off. So you got your head scratcher right there thinking, what's going on here? Is there going to be a Gen 13 book, or is it going to be Gen 13 with Superboy book? So I don't know, but it had me interested. I like the story that was provided here. I like that it looks like we could get Kara back to her original personality. And yeah, so this was a good book. So I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so keeping going here, 2, 3, 4, 5. We go on to top 5, and our number 5 book was Miss Marvel, issue number 6. I like Miss Marvel. I think Miss Marvel is a cool character. I think the series has been fresh. I like the cover here, even though what's on the cover has nothing to do with what's in the book. I thought, it was an awesome cover. Our main character's name is Carmella, and you get to see her go against this creature called the Inventor. Now, I noticed in this book that the artwork is slightly different. I forgot the the other artist's name offhand, but I could tell by looking at this book, the art is similar, but it's not quite the same. It's not as fine. It's not the original artwork that was in the book. But in this issue, you get to see Carmela go after the inventor, and this is this brand new villain that happens to be here in New Jersey, and she's the brand new hero that's in Jersey as well. And you get to see her. She wants to do this job. This is like automatically her arch nemesis already. So you get to see her dress up. I love the over exaggeration in the scarf when it comes to Miss Marvel, and you'll see that a little bit more as I show you pictures in the art. I like that. I like that. That's really cool there. You know, she's a very simplistic looking character, but to add to that extra little detail, the artist added that cool, elongated scarf. I like exaggerations like that. So you see her go out through these sewers, and you see these crocodiles that have all this like headgear and all this crazy shit on top of them, and she comes across this mutated cockatoo, uh, which I thought was really funny, and I think his name was Thomas Edison, which is insane, and he creates all these weird like creatures, and of course, out of all the people to team up with, Wolverine comes into play, and Wolverine teams up with Miss Marvel. And I think the the personality of Miss Marvel was so genuine in this book. It really shined on how much she appreciated Wolverine, on how she couldn't believe that she was teaming up with him. And you can see that here in this little panel. She's like, "You're Wolverine," you know. And as a teenager, you can picture that. You know, she's all gaga for Wolverine. So it was really neat, and you get to see those two team up with each other. Carmela realizes that Wolverine doesn't have his healing factor anymore, and it was a really good issue to show him, you know, that he can rely on her to keep her safe. But then when you get to the end of the actual book, the dialogue was great here because it says, "Dungeon boss, most ginormous alligator ever. Difficult rating 0, difficult rating 10, group size solo." So it's like a video game dialogue there, and they come across this big alligator. It was freaking cool ending. Miss Marvel is a great book. I really enjoy this series. I didn't think I would like it so much, but being, how free spirited Miss Marvel really is, and how she really is so genuine, I really like her character, and I like where this book is going, and hopefully it stays on this path. So after reading this book, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. All right. So, getting down to the nitty gritty, we're going on to number 4. Number 4 was Manifest Destiny, issue number 8. Every time I read this book or this series, it's always like in the top 5. It's so different. I just love Lewis and Clark going to that uncharted territories, checking out things that they've never come across. Got to document their adventures, and they come across the most craziest shit that you can ever see. And this book it surprises you with that, especially at the end of each issue. Here, even on the cover, they're on top of this rock, and you can see this like little skeleton face. But then you go under it, and it's a huge, huge, gigantic body. And that's this series has. It has all that weird stuff. In the last issue, you get to see like our heroes here. They're trying to get away from these gigantic toad creatures, and there's this boat that's stuck on this big arch that has eggs attached to it. And if they don't get out of there, these eggs are going to hatch. But for right now, you get your two groups that are separated, and they're transporting food and water to each other and supplies. And I think that the artwork and the colors really fit the tone of this book, and for the time era of this book too. So as our heroes that are stuck on the land, they have to go out and get supplies. They got to get food, they got to go hunting and everything else. And in this issue, you get to see one of the corporals. He's going to go out there too, and the female that's with them feels protected by this corporal, and she wants to go with him. He takes it the wrong way, and he thinks that she wants to hook up with him. And of course, he starts beating on her, and it looks like he's going to rape her. But as she's about to rape her, there's this big ass bug creature that sits there and stabs him in the back. And you can see that here. And I was like, oh, damn. And that's what I'm talking about the creatures in this thing. It's just so entertaining to see what happens and how they're going to survive here. And it's so funny because at the end of this book, when I'm looking at it, you see a visual of the lady's face in the creature's eye. And you can't see it that well when you're looking at it. But when I put it on the camera, like this, you can see it perfectly. Isn't that freaky? Like, look at that shit right there. Look at that. That's insane. You see a reflection in the creature's eye. This book is great. This book has so much fantasy, and I enjoy it a lot. If you're looking for something different, guys, I suggest Manifest Destiny. There's just something there that just draws me to this book. I don't know if I think it's the mystery of the book that really is, because I never know what I'm going to read after each issue. I don't know where the story is going to go. It's not predictable. I'm not sure what creature I'm going to come across at the end, if there's going to be a creature. You don't know what's going to happen to the cast or the crew. It's just an awesome, awesome read, and I really enjoy it. So I give this one, I think it was a 4 or 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really good, guys. Don't underestimate Manifest Destiny. All right. So going on to top three, number 3, and that was Original Sin, issue number 6 of 8. We're getting close to the end now. This book picks up pretty much right where we left off. You get a small introduction or reintroduction again of Dr. Midas and the what's her name, Exterminatrix, and you see them for a couple pages just to say, hey, don't forget about us, and we're not sure if he killed the Watcher or if Nick Fury killed the Watcher. You still don't know that, but the bulk of the issue continues the story of what happened with Nick Fury, and on how he aged, the Super Soldier Serum, how he's used it all up, or the Infinity Serum, or whatever it's called, and now how he's getting old, and eventually that he's going to die. Great dialogue moments here between the Avengers, because you get Nick Fury, he's sitting there going, someone's got to take my position. Ant-Man makes some crazy comments in here, which I thought was really good. And, you have the Avengers here that were left behind get the signal to go to Nick Fury's secret satellite base or whatever, so they get involved. The other Avengers don't agree with what Nick Fury is doing. You get to see the orb get captured by Nick Fury. We find out that they have both eyeballs. Nick Fury obviously sees something here because he goes to attack the Avengers. The orb is going to change somehow. He might become the new Watcher. Who knows? But you get to see Nick Fury in his battle suit going after the other Avengers, and all the Avengers coming together. How this ends, I don't know. Is Nick Fury going to die? Who knows? Is the orb somehow going to transform into the new Watcher? Or change, or whatever? Who killed the Watcher? What's with Dr. Midas? Like, there's so many unanswered questions, and there's only 2 issues left. I hope it's good, man. I hope it finishes off good. This has been solid. I'm giving this one I think I gave Manifest Destiny a 4. I think I gave this one a 4 out of 5 too. Not quite as much story progression as I would like, but still a really good issue. This has been a great series for Marvel. All right, so number 2 book of the week goes to Grimm Fairy Tales, issue number 100. Nice cover. It is a fold-out cover. I know I showed you guys that in my haul video already. But yeah, this is it, man. This is where Grimm Fairy Tales kind of ends its first chapter, really, and kind of moves on to a next chapter. This book artwork here, guys, remember Anthony Spey. The man's artwork is phenomenal. It's so rich in detail with character expressions. I love the way the characters were drawn here. Everything, every drawing here from either Malik, which is this guy here, the Dark Queen, characters from Hibble Corp, which is this corporation right here that tries to stop the Dark Queen, to Baba Yaga, I think she was drawn real well too. I mean, the book, the action sequence, everything here in this issue was drawn phenomenally. And the story here was done just as well. And this Dark Queen that I'm showing you right here has all these elements from all these different realms, and she has to, she has all these elements from the realms, and once she puts them together, all the different realms, including Earth, all are mixed into one, and you get to see that happen on the last page of this issue, if I can get to it, because there's a lot of advertisements, which it happens right here. So this is the way Earth looks after all these realms come together. I think this was a great story. It was action-packed. You know, everything that led up to here made complete sense if you're a reader to this. And if this is the first issue that you read in Grim Fairy Tales issue 100, I think it is new reader friendly. You would get a better satisfaction if you read everything that led up to it, but you can read it and understand it so you can progress further going on to 101. So this was a fun read. It's a complete story. Had every type of element. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. All right, number one book of the week, and this really surprised me. I really don't read these books, but this was Life with Archie, issue number 36. This is the death of Archie. Now, when you read Archie comics, you're thinking, Archie comics, I've seen him around all the time. Like, he's been in the grocery store with those digest magazines. He's had cartoons. The dude's been around since the 40s. And even if you haven't even read Archie, you should know who he is, because a lot of people know who Archie, Jughead, Betty, and Veronica are. They're just like staples of life. So when I heard Archie was going to die, I was like, really? They're going to kill Archie? Are you kidding me? And Archie Comics has really gotten popular within the year, especially with Afterlife of Archie. I've heard that series was very well done. I didn't get a chance to read it. Hopefully, maybe I'll get it in trade. But this book was beautifully done. And if you're not familiar with Life with Archie, this is a series that takes place in like two ways, in two universes. Archie with Betty or Archie with Veronica. And that's if he married one or the other. And it tells you everything. This book tells you everything about what has happened up until this point. And then when you get to the end of the book, you actually get to learn a history of Archie Comics. When it originated, how the characters were created, where the company stood. So I thought in aspects it did a real good job. And I thought this book shined in its artwork. I think the book did a really good job in dialogue and telling you, and having Archie going down memory lane and remembering everything from his past, going forward into the future, what he thinks his life was going to be like. And in this book, it never tells you who he actually marries, either Betty or Veronica. It always left the reader up to himself to make, or herself to make the decision who you want Archie to be married to, Betty or Veronica. And it does a really good job at that. And this main story goes with Archie's friend, whose senator is having this particular campaign and then a party afterwards. There's been this shooter on the loose, and this shooter's been undercover this whole time, and he's been undercover. You haven't seen him and whatnot, and they decide to have this party anyway, even though this guy's out on the loose in their town. And what happens in the particular issue is when they're having this party, the shooter comes around. He makes his appearance. He makes his appearance. He goes, he waves the gun out, and in the middle of the party. And what happens is Archie does this noble thing to try to save his friend, and the guy pulls out the gun, and he basically winds up shooting Archie right in the actual stomach. And as a reader, here, even though I've never really read Archie comics, I got emotional. And it's just like, because you felt so bad for him, because he's such a good-hearted guy, and you see, his supporting cast in tears and just couldn't believe what was going on. And in the last words she says is, I always loved you, to Betty or Veronica. And you still don't know who the wife was. And everyone is crying. And then the next issue takes place, the next issue will take place 1 year later. So it takes a time skip. And it's on sale on July 23rd. I thought this book was just phenomenal. I thought it was a complete book. It told a great story of Archie, remembering the life of Archie. And you don't have to be a reader of Archie comics to understand how this book was told and the story it wanted to tell. So my hats are off to it because they did such a great job in writing it. And I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And that was my #1 book of the week. So, guys, there you have it. There is Countdown, episode number 69 already. 69 episodes. So, guys, leave me in your comments below what you thought your worst pick of the week was, what your favorite pick of the week was. And, guys, as always, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. And thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. And this has been The Countdown, episode number 69. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.